Tiny accidents that created the most ridiculous rules.
Picture this.
A man trips over a chicken, and an entire town bans walking backward on Sundays. Or a factory worker sneezes, hits the wrong lever, and suddenly a nationwide sneeze protocol exists. Sounds impossible, right? But tiny accidents, random, stupid, harmless accidents, have triggered some of the weirdest rules humanity still follows today. Rules born from panic, rules born from embarrassment, rules born because someone, somewhere, messed up at the worst possible moment. And the craziest part, some of these rules are still enforced. Right now, as you're watching this. Today, we're diving deep into the tiny mistakes that spiraled into massive, ridiculous regulations, from accidental disasters to the rule makers who were desperate to pretend it never happened.
And trust me, Hyde, number 5 will change how you see this forever.
Number 1. The man who sneezed his way into a national rule. Our first story begins with a sneeze. Not a powerful one, not a dramatic one, just a regular sneeze, but the sneeze happened in the worst possible place, a high security button room. Imagine a worker cleaning the control panel of a government facility. He's tired, he's bored. He leans forward to wipe a smudge, and suddenly, achoo. That tiny burst of air knocks his elbow forward, and his elbow lands on a bright red button labeled, "Do not touch." Instant alarms. Sirens blaring, security teams sprinting in like it's the end of the world. And what catastrophe did the forbidden button trigger? What nightmare scenario did that sneeze unleash? None. Absolutely nothing. Turns out, the button wasn't connected to anything. It was a leftover from an older system, never removed. But the embarrassment? Oh, that was real. So what do officials do when they don't want to look stupid? That's right. They make a rule. A national sneeze precaution protocol. 3 steps. Mandatory training. An entire manual explaining how to properly not sneeze near sensitive equipment. All because one tired guy had allergies and hit a dead button. That didn't even work. But if you think that rule came from something ridiculous, wait until you hear the next accident. The one that forced a whole town to rewrite its laws. Because of a single chicken. Number 2. The chicken that accidentally became a legal threat. Our next rule started with a chicken. Not a fierce one. Not some mutant, radioactive super chicken. Just a tiny, confused bird that wandered into the wrong place at the wrong time. Picture a quiet morning in a small, rural town. A shopkeeper steps outside to unlock his store. Coffee in one hand, keys in the other, half awake, and then a chicken sprints across the street like it's running from tax collectors. The shopkeeper doesn't see it. His foot catches the bird. He stumbles, arms flailing, coffee flying through the air in slow motion. He hits the ground with a thud and slides into a flower stand like he's reenacting an action movie, directed by someone with no budget. He's fine. The chicken is fine. But the town? Oh, the town panics, because the shopkeeper was embarrassed, and humiliation can be a dangerous ingredient in lawmaking. The town council gathers that same evening, solemn faces, serious voices, discussing the threat of unregulated poultry, so they pass a rule, a real one, a published official stamped by the mayor rule. No resident may walk backward on Sundays, to avoid surprise collisions with free-roaming chickens. Why backward? Because during his fall, the shopkeeper swore he saw the chicken sneak up behind him. He insisted it attacked from the rear. It did not, but his pride needed justice. And so the town outlawed backward walking. On Sundays, only Sundays, because that's when the chicken incident happened. And that's the logic they went with. But if one chicken can reshape a town's weekly schedule, wait until you hear how a spilled drink forced an entire city to ban something even stranger. Something you definitely do every single day. Number 3. The spilled drink that changed a city's daily routine. Our next rule started with something so harmless, you've probably done it 100 times today. A sip, a slip, and a disaster that should not have been possible. It happened in a crowded city office tower. Early morning, elevators full, people half awake and pretending to care about their jobs. A junior intern walks in holding a large cup of iced coffee, extra ice, extra syrup, extra chance of catastrophe. He steps inside the elevator, the doors close, and all it takes is one bump from a coworker. The cup tilts, the lid pops, cold coffee explodes everywhere, down the walls, across the floor, dripping into every tiny crack and panel. Everyone panics, not because they're wet, but because the elevator suddenly jerks and stops between floors. Lights flicker, panels spark, People scream, someone starts praying, someone else blames the intern's entire bloodline. Firefighters eventually pry the doors open and rescue them like survivors of an elevator apocalypse. The cause? A short circuit in the control wiring. Triggered by, you guessed it, 2 ounces of sugary iced coffee. Embarrassing? Yes. Fixable? Easily. But the building manager? He wasn't taking any chances or responsibility, so he created a rule. A building-wide, city-approved, fully enforceable rule. No beverages of any kind are allowed inside elevators. Not coffee, not water, not a bottle of soda, not even a sealed drink. If it had liquid in it, you were banned. Security guards actually patrolled for cups. It became the first building in the city where people walked around like dehydrated desert explorers because they feared getting fined for holding a juice box. Ridiculous? Absolutely. But if spilled coffee can shut down an elevator, what came next was even stranger. A harmless object, something used by almost every household, and one tiny accident turned it into a restricted item in an entire region. Number 4. The household item that accidentally became too dangerous to own. Our next rule came from an object so common you probably have one within arm's reach right now. A broom. Yes, a broom. Not a weapon, not some ancient cursed relic, just a simple stick with bristles that became the star of the most unnecessary law ever written. It happened during a neighborhood cleanup day. Families sweeping leaves, kids running around, everything peaceful, until one father tries to show off. He twirls his broom like a kung fu staff, spins it, flips it, dramatic music playing in his head, and then disaster. The broom slips mid-spin, flies through the air like a cheap wooden missile, and lands directly on the hood of a city council member's car. Not just any car, his brand new, freshly polished show-off in front of the neighbor's car. The broom leaves a massive scratch. Everyone goes silent. The dad freezes. The councilman looks like he's about to summon lightning, but instead of admitting it was just an accident, the councilman blames the broom. The problem, he declares, is that brooms are unsafe during community events. Not the guy swinging it like a martial arts wannabe, not the lack of common sense, just the broom. So he pushes a new rule through the local board. No household cleaning tools may be used outdoors during public gatherings, meaning you could host a cleanup day, but no one could actually clean. People had to sweep inside first, then bring the dirt outside later. Efficiency? Dead. But the councilman was satisfied. His car got buffed, his ego survived, and the broom became a legally suspicious object. Ridiculous? Absolutely. But we're not done, because our final rule comes from the tiniest accident of all, one so small, you might miss it even if you watched it happen. And that tiny mistake created the most unbelievable rule on this entire list. Number 5, the smallest accident that created the most absurd rule of all our final story starts with something so tiny, so microscopic, you wouldn't even notice it happening. A yawn, just a quiet, tired, harmless yawn. But this one happened in front of the wrong person at the wrong moment, in the kind of meeting where everyone pretends to be awake even though their souls left hours ago. Picture a silent boardroom, a serious presentation, a government official showing charts, graphs, and numbers nobody asked for. And then, in the far corner, one intern loses the battle. He tilts his head back, eyes squint, mouth opens, yawn, but he tries to hide it, covers his mouth. Should have been fine, harmless, normal, except his wristwatch catches the edge of the projector cable. One tiny tug, barely anything, but that's enough. The projector slips, slides off the table, hits the ground, shatters, the lights flicker, the whole presentation collapses into chaos. Important officials jump up like they're under attack. Someone screams, "Sabotage!" Someone else blames the intern's unprofessional mouth-opening techniques. In reality, it was a yawn. Just a yawn. But embarrassment is powerful. Officials need someone to blame. And they definitely aren't blaming their own unstable projector setup, so they create a regulation, a real one, approved, printed, distributed. No employee may yawn during formal presentations or government briefings. A literal anti-yawn rule, the kind of rule you only get when adults refuse to admit they should have bought a sturdier table. Meetings had yawn monitors. People drank triple coffees to survive. Some employees even trained themselves to yawn silently like undercover agents, all because one projector couldn't survive a bored intern. And that's the pattern, isn't it? Tiny mistakes, harmless accidents, Moments no one should care about, transformed into rules, fines, and policies that outlive the people who created them. All because humans hate admitting they messed up, so we create rules to hide our own clumsiness, our pride, our fear of looking stupid, and those tiny accidents, they ripple outwards, shaping laws, daily routines, and sometimes entire communities. Funny? Yes. Ridiculous? Always. But also kind of fascinating, because if these rules came from mistakes this small, imagine how many others are out there right now, governing your life because someone, somewhere, tripped, sneezed, slipped, yawned, or panicked. And that's all for today. Subscribe if you love discovering the dark, bizarre side of everyday life.